Hello everybody and welcome back. Today we're doing a bit of a different style of video because of the difficulties writing outdoors, so I'll introduce you to the plants first and then we can talk about them and do a bit of writing about how they work later. So the plant today is a native strawberry species, one of the two in the area. And this one is the Virginia strawberry, also called the American strawberry or the common wild strawberry. Fragaria virginiana is the scientific name. As you can see here, that they are abundantly in flower, but we can talk about their leaves a little bit first. So, if you take a look at their leaves, you see that they have 3 leaflets each. So, 1, 2, 3. So that means that the leaves are what would be referred to as trifoliate compound leaves. I'm not sure if they would be considered anything like palmate or pinnate. I'm not thinking that because they don't really have any sort of super distinctive pattern beyond being club-shaped. So that might be referred to as a club-shaped leaf, not really sure. The leaf margins here on the leaflets are serrated, and if you look at the tip of the leaves, more specifically the tip of the center leaflet, so we'll use this one as an example, although it's actually not that good an example as it doesn't really display very well, but if you look at the tooth right here, at the terminal tooth along the center line of the leaf, so you have this vein line, the midline, and then this tooth at the end, that being smaller than the 2 teeth on either side of it, so this one and this one are both larger, that is the easiest way to distinguish Fragaria virginiana from the woodland strawberry Fragaria vesca, which also occurs in the northeastern United States as well as in Europe and Asia, but is more unusual. That one will be called the woodland strawberry. But we have the Virginia strawberry here. If you take a look next to the leaf, you see this structure here. That is a piece of flattened stem, or elongated stem, called a stolon, although in gardening community they call that a runner instead, because it runs from one plant to a place where it will eventually put roots down and make a separate plant. So if we pull on this a little bit, we see that the thing have distinctive strawberry leaves on it. So wherever the end of this lands, or should happen to stop, maybe about 10-15 centimeters or so each, it will put roots down and we'll get a second strawberry plant. I believe that's how most of these occur because I don't usually see fruit on them, possibly because they don't have the right conditions for fruit, but you never really know why they do or don't do something. I'd like to learn if it could be the case that they do indeed set fruit and simply have it be eaten by birds before I end up seeing any of it. The flowers here have 5 petals each. So we have 5 petals. 1, 2, 3, 4, and then the 5th one got damaged by the rain yesterday. We have a large number of anthers. The pistils are harder to see, but they're a bit tufted. And a unique quirk of strawberry flower anatomy, well, it's not actually unique, but it's unusual relative to a lot of plants, is that each one of the pistils connects to a single separate ovary in the flower, and this is why you will often hear on the internet that it's a fun fact where strawberry fruits are not actually fruits, but instead are a aggregate fruit of some sort, or an accessory fruit it would be called, and then the little tiny seeds you see on the surface of them are the real fruits of a type that is called an achene. If you take a look at this one that has already expired, you can... that's not that good, actually. Let me see. There's another one over here that's probably easier to take a look at. Here it is. So, on this one you can see the pistils here, and each one of these will have a fruit emerge at the base of it, whereas the structure that holds all of them, the receptacle, is what will actually expand and turn red. The wild strawberry is 1/2 of the hybrid that gave rise to the garden strawberry, which is Fragaria biananassa, along with a Pacific Coast strawberry that is commonly referred to as the Chilean strawberry. Some other things about the strawberry plants is they have a rosetted growth form, so you can see at the base here it emerges both stolons like this one and leaves, as well as flower stalks. So this one here connects to an inflorescence. You can see it's a little bit thicker because it has to hold more on it, because it connects to these flowers here. And get out of the way, please. Thank you. And then they have rather abundant hair along the stems, or the petiole it would be called, because it's a leaf stem only, that serve to protect them from insects, most likely, although it is also possible that it's to mitigate the risk of sunlight. They have a number of bud scales at the base that are protective, and then they peel away. And these plants can get to be about, say, 4 or 5 inches tall at a time. Not usually much more than that, unless they have something to lean against. Although in some shadier habitats I have seen them get bigger. I don't really have any advice on how to grow them, because I just kind of let them do whatever they choose to do. And as I zoom out a bit more, you can see that they are not exactly uncommon. They spread by stolons once again, so every 10 centimeters or so in this area, they will put down roots and put another plant there that'll be rather big by the end of the summer. Although I do believe that they need more fertilizer or more soil nutrients to actually set root. Oh, hey. If you look over here, this isn't actually relevant to the strawberries at all, but we have a couple of 4-leaf clovers. You got one here. That one might actually be a 5. Let me see. Yeah, that one's a 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then that one's a 4. Yeah, but that's just a fun detour. Oh, and there's a bitter cress. It isn't... No, okay, never mind. Those are a cabbage relative or mustard relative, cabbage relative, where the seeds will jump if you touch them. It makes a little popping sound, and then the seeds go everywhere. But, once again, that's not particularly relevant to strawberries, and it's a bit late in the season to be talking about them, since they're not flowering by this point. So, no advice for growing them because they grow themselves pretty well, although they might need a bit of extra nutrition if they were to fruit. Although, alternately, they could be fruiting just fine, and as soon as it turns red and visible, they get snatched up by birds, because birds are one of the few types of animals that can actually see the color red. This is also interesting because in the Western Hemisphere, a lot of plants with red fruit are poisonous, because the typical thing that they'd be dispersed by is birds, and mammals have different poison tolerances. So a lot of nightshades, like peppers for example, are supposed to be eaten by birds and are moderately poisonous to mammals. But strawberries are fortunately an exception to that because they're quite good and people eat quite a few of them sometimes. So that's all for... Oh wait, no, it's not all actually. You can see with the flower structure, this is a very distinctive sort of appearance of the rose family. So if you see a bunch, like 5 petals like this, a whole heck of a ton of stamens, and then the pistils are smaller and much harder to see in the middle, but there's a heck of a lot of them too. That's a strong sign it's in the family of roses, along with stuff like cherry blossoms, apples, pears, and obviously roses themselves. So now that's enough of introducing to the plants, and I'll be recording a second part of the video where I write out a bit about their phylogeny and define how their fruits work. Alrighty, now that we're back inside, we can talk a little bit about the taxonomy of these guys. So, the scientific name is spelled like so: Fragaria virginiana. The scientific name of the woodland strawberry that I was distinguishing them from is spelled like this: F. Esca. The scientific name of the Pacific Coast strawberry, or the Chilean strawberry that is succulent, has thicker leaves, living in sandier habitats, is F. chiloensis. And the hybrid of Fragaria virginiana and Fragaria chiloensis Fragaria virginiana by chiloensis equals Fragaria by ananassa, which is the common garden strawberry. The family that the strawberries are in is Rosaceae. Rosaceae is rose family. Roses, apples, cherry family, along with a bunch of other fruits like almond, I think plums, pears, stuff like that. The type genus of this family is Rosa, which I have seen growing nearby, so expect a video on that one soon. Well, soon-ish, whenever it decides to flower. I think it's the invasive one too, so I might have to go after it before it does so, but that's beside the point right now. And the last bit of fun two more things actually. So, strawberry fruits are called achenes, which are a fruit with a hard shell, hard shell, one seed, and the seed is not attached. Seed is not attached. So what I mean by the seed being not attached is that if you break the shell open, the seed will fall out without any further intervention. A good example of that would be with a sunflower seed, where if you ever eaten those, you have to break open the shell and then the actual seed falls out of the fruit pretty easily. That's the same sort of setup that strawberry seeds have. And the strawberry itself would be called an accessory fruit. I'm not entirely sure why my hand decided to write it like that, but that's what it did, and that's what we get. And then the last bit of fun information about strawberries is that they are octoploid. Octoploid, which means they have 8 sets of chromosomes. Which is in stark contrast to the 2 sets of chromosomes that humans have and are shared by almost every single animal species and most forms of plants. So, I don't think this octoploidy had a super big impact on their ancestry. Might have affected some chemical contents of the fruits and whatnot, but nothing too major. But it's just a bit of a fun fact that can be shared and talked about if you ever have the opportunity to do so. Thank you. I hope you enjoyed the video. I have a couple of absolutely fascinating plants to talk about when they get a bit larger, but I think the next video will be about either the wild violet or the lowbush blueberry, both of which I found in flower in the wild nearby. Thank you, and have yourselves a wonderful day.